There was no bank failure during the Depression. I think the Home Bank in 1924 was the last major bank failure. In the U.S., they had lots of little bank failures, but they kind of got bailed out. Yeah. The damage was minimal, but there's certainly nothing in the U.S. history after 1913 that matches the period of free banking, which in itself is a wonderful study for anybody who hasn't got anything else to study. So the issue here then becomes macroeconomics becomes a study of interesting things like employment, actual output, potential output, economic growth, but nobody talks about money. Now, what was overlooked was that bankers are clever people, or at least they can hire clever people if they have to. And indeed, this safety net for the money of the little old ladies and the young couples has been set up. But of course, remember I mentioned to you that bankers make a margin on other people's money. Therefore, it didn't take a Nobel Prize winner to discover that the more money you have, the more money you earn, even if the margin is relatively small. So the clever bankers have found ways in which they can have access to money, which is not deposits of the general public, not the little old ladies, not the young couples, but short-term money that can be borrowed on paper from pension funds, insurance companies, corporate treasuries. And, of course, once they borrowed short, they then arrange to lend long. How do you lend long? Longest. You arrange for mortgages. And then when you begin to worry about this whole thing, plus your capital requirements, what you do is you create something called mortgage-backed securities. You get them off your balance sheet. You take your profit. And after that, it's somebody else's risk. Now, not only did we have this, but we also had wonderful people who sold insurance, as Mr. Schiller just told us. No default, right? Now, there's an interesting feature of American law here. Insurance couldn't be called insurance. It had to be called these swaps, simply because the word insurance is something that's subject to regulation by the states, individual states. And obviously, these people didn't want to be regulated by the states. So they
call it swaps.
They call it swaps. Okay, I mean they had to call it some name that wasn't insurance. They could have equally called it gizmos or something. They called it swaps. It sounds good because it sort of suggests that there's a quid for the quo. But there is.
I was going to say there was a special court case on that, and the English, I can't remember the name of it, but the Brits came out the other way. It was through consultation with the SEC that the Treasury said that, oh well, these are not insurance, and therefore not subject to the capital requirements that insurance normally would.